but how did you link up with Joe K?
I didn't link up with Joe. I was going through some crazy times in high school. I was always searching for music, headphones. Always, I was that dude just blasting the headphones back when the Skull Candies were popping, like, you know,
colorful ass shit.
Yeah. You had like all of them, and I remember listening to, I believe it was Anthony Valadez on KCRW, and I think Joe had just came on. I forgot what it was, but I think it was radio show number 3 that I came on. And I just remember downloading the KB Chap on my Android, and there was literally like 2 buttons. It was like play and like some other random button on there. I remember pushing play, and I heard this, I'm not sure if it's unreleased, I don't know what it is, but it's like this common Mary J. Blige joint. What's that bar? What was it again? It's some joint he was playing, and I'm like, wow, like this is amazing. I thought I was the only one that had this like in the world, right? At that point, I'm like, I'm the only one in the world with this. And then I heard him playing Dilla, right? So the moment I heard the Dilla, I'm like, all right, I'm the only one in this city that knows of Jay Dilla. I'm the only one. I guarantee no one knows who Dilla is around here. And I forgot how I contacted him. I think I remember him talking, and around that time, it was like, I think it was MySpace or some shit. Hit him up like, yo, you know, what's up with this? He's like, yo, give me a call. I called him up. I'm like, yo, I got to come through and the station or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And I remember not even having my license or anything. And one day I just pulled up.
It's crazy.
And no license, no nothing. My mom's busted ass car with like the roof like peeling and shit. Like if you touch the roof, the orange stuff falls off. You remember, like that? You remember that? Like where the top is like, you're like driving in the wind and it's like waving and shit. That's how my mom's car was at the time. And I remember just mobbing all the way to Long Beach, pulling up, and just went to the station, man. The rest is just history, man. From there, me and Joe just vibed. At that time, I had already like stacked up like some vinyl, and I was already DJing at the 2nd Street Jazz Club. Shout out to the homeboy Oma, wherever you are in the world, dog. Love you. DJ Prime Meridian. These dudes put me on. I was 16 years old DJing, at 16, 17 years old DJing with vinyl at the 2nd Street Jazz Club. I think it's called like Wolf and Crane now.
Really?
But it's like right down the street. And I had told him like, yeah, man, like I'm DJing this. He's just like, bro, like what are you doing on vinyl? Like there's computers now. Like there's Serato and, you know.
Yeah.
And that was back when Joe was on turntables. so it was some time ago, you know, and it was 2011. And man, from there he's just like, yo, you gotta come back, man, come vibe with us. And then I just started meeting everybody from there, right? You know, Sango, Carmack, Esta, Chronica. The list goes on, man. The list goes on of all the guests that started popping into the station, and man, I just started mobbing everywhere. Man, next thing you know, become residents over at the Crosby. Shout out to the Crosby.
That was
family,
your first residence, right?
That was my very first residency ever.
How experienced were you at DJing at that time?
How experienced was I? I mean, I'm always learning, man. Till this day, I'm always learning. Answer. But I was doing it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I was doing it, man. It happen. I was doing it. Me, Andre, and Joe, man. We're the residents, man. We're getting like $50 to like $80 a show each. We're happy as hell getting some money from the DJing. Like, yo, this is tight. Give me my $80. But at that time, I was living in Santa Barbara. So I would get off of work at like 10, 11 p.m. I would hop on the Greyhound, get to L.A. like 3, 4 in the morning. Shorty would pick me up. Sometimes my mom would pick me up. But for the most part, Shorty was picking me up. We'd come back here.
It's like a 2-hour drive, too.
You know, 2-3 hours. Sleep for a little bit. Be all excited. Go get a little outfit. Drive to Santa Ana. Do the show. And then I would go from the show straight back. Take the Greyhound back to get to work by 10 in the morning. So I would get off the bus, go straight to work. Forever 21.
Forever 21.
Santa Barbara.
Okay.
Yeah. And, man, that was just like the routine for a while. And I ended up loving just that. Like, I love just like being nonstop, always having something to do. And like, I developed this anxiety and this like this crazy just like drive. But I mean, you see me when I pull up here, like that's kind of how it
You
was,
just
man.
running around everywhere.
Yeah. And you know, you end up developing like this. Like, it turns into a skill, man. Really, when you think about it, you learn to like perform under pressure and move around under pressure. You learn to love the pressure. So I think that's what happened. I'm like, yo, I love this. I love doing this, man. And I told myself, like, wait, I still have a year to go here. Like, I'm not moving back home yet. I still have a year to go.
So
here.
you stood true to that.
I stood true to that, and I'm so thankful for that, because I ended up, man, there was a point in time where I was like homeless for like a day.
Damn.
And then I met some dude, and he's just like, yo, like, what are you doing out here? Like, come inside of my house. Ended up living in there. Ended up growing a bunch of weed with a bunch of geeks and shit, and meeting a bunch of amazing people that I'm still friends with till this day. And then once I was ready to come back, I made that move, man. And ever since then, every day is just a learning experience, man. And when did I come back? It's been some time now. I think I came back 2014. 2014. And I want to say that those 3 years that I lived like on my own are kind of like what molded me. Like, they're like, it showed me like who I was, because I would spend a lot of time by myself. You know what I mean? You spend a lot of time by yourself, you really get to know yourself.
Yeah, that is true.
And I always just carried everything, my childhood, the hustle, the grind, the awareness. I carried all that with me now to this day. And it's kind of how it is for everybody, man.
Yeah, it's all a piece of who you are. I'm a big believer too that like your hood and where you're from raises you.
Yeah.
Too, and you're never gonna like lose that, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're always growing.